So far in this chapter, we've looked at two different types of API. We've looked at the Google Maps JavaScript API, which enabled us to embed Google Maps onto our web page and control how they look. And then we looked at the Google Geolocation API, which is a different sort of API that returns XML. And then we processed that XML with jQuery and made a quick website to find a postcode of an address using that. So now we're going to look at another different type of API, and we're going to focus on Twitter's API. So two different things about this. One is that it uses JSON rather than XML. So we'll find out what JSON is and how we deal with that. And the second, we're going to connect to it using PHP rather than JavaScript. Now, because it uses a certain type of authentication, which we'll look at in a moment, it's strongly discouraged to use client-side JavaScript with the Twitter API. So we'll use it as an opportunity to practice connecting with an API and doing something using PHP. So in this video, we'll just set up our access to the Twitter API. So just like with Google Maps, you do need to sign up, but it's a slightly more laborious process with Twitter. So let's see how we do it. So TechEdRob is my username. So let's scroll down and click Get Started with the platform. If you want to spend a bit of time here, that would be great. Have a good look around. There's a lot of useful information on the Twitter API here. And of course, you'll learn a lot about APIs in general. But we're going to jump straight to manage your apps. I've got one app here, but I'm focused on creating a new one for now. So to connect with Twitter, you need to create an app, even if you want to do something pretty basic. So an app is just a way of connecting to the Twitter API, essentially. So I'm going to call this test app, and it's going to be the complete web developer course. Description, test app for the complete web developer course. And I'm going to be running it from complete web developer course.com. We don't need a callback URL. Remember from JavaScript that a callback is something that the script does on completion. So if you want to see where your app is being used, or you want to keep track of every use, you might want to specify a callback URL, which then documents that particular use in a database or something like that. But we're not going to do that here. I'm going to agree to the terms and conditions and then create our application. Right, it wants me to put HTTP in front of the website. Great, there we go. So we've created our test app, and the crucial thing that we're interested in is the API keys. So here they are. With OAuth, you have an API key and an API secret. I won't go into great details about how the security works, but essentially the API key is something that could be public. It doesn't matter if other people know your API key, but the API secret is something that should definitely be kept private. So this is something that would allow someone else to use your app. So definitely do not share your API secret with the world. We now need to create an access token for our app, which will allow us to access the app directly. So it's been created, but it does take a little while to be visible. If I refresh now, it's not quite there. Okay, we'll come back to it in a minute. It will appear shortly. Just refresh again. There we go. So there's our access token. And again, the secret should never be made public. Great. So I'm going to stop there. So that's the process of creating a Twitter. So that's the process of creating a Twitter app and getting the API keys which will be necessary to connect to the Twitter API. In the next video, we'll find out how to do that with PHP.